So last night we had the amazing Ash Dickinson at Yes We Cant at the Pretty Bricks in Warsaw. Anyone who's seen Ash Dickinson will not be surprised to know that he was chuffing awesome. But he was also there celebrating a couple of things because A, it's his birthday in a couple of days, so happy birthday Ash. Apologies if you can hear fireworks outside, it's bonfire night. And the other anniversary was that a few days ago it was Ash's 10-year anniversary of being a full-time poet, and that in itself is a massive achievement, and he's just a testament to how good this guy is. But before we get to the interview, a couple of little things. One, the lighting's not very good. I'm going to try and fix it in post, but I'm not very good at that sort of thing. And two, the camera angle's pretty bad. That was entirely my fault. But I have to say, if you are expecting me to have a level of professionalism to get sound, camera, lighting and an interview all done well, then you're going to be sorely disappointed. So, this is the bit I always like doing. Roll VT! Ash, your first Yes We Can. How did you find that?
How did I find it?
Yes, did you have you had a nice night, Ash?
I have had a lovely night. Thanks ever so much for having me. As I said on stage, I've done so many shows in the West Midlands, and
you're one of us.
I am. I actually.
He's ours.
Considering I was born an East Midlander, I think I've crossed the divide. I think this is new territory here. I mean, and what a busy night! What terrific readers! A really passionate, enthusiastic, attentive crowd. It's a good night you got here. A good night.
Oh shucks.
Yeah. This is the whole reason you do this. This post-show thing,
okay.
Isn't it? Just so the headliner can come on, say lots of brilliant things, and you stick it on YouTube and like, hark at us.
I resent that implication, but ladies and gentlemen, Ash Dickinson. Yeah. Right. As I said when I closed the night, if people put in 10p for every word that you said, we'd have the GDP of Belgium.
Yeah, no.
There's a few words there, Ash.
No, it's exhausting, isn't it? Imagine doing an hour of that stuff. How exhausting that is. I have to remember to write short and ballads. I have to write slow numbers just to give myself a break.
But what is that writing process like in the head of Ash Dickinson as you're battering these things out? Because it doesn't seem like they splurge out. This feels like every word is crafted.
Yeah, well, I think they should be. I think every writer, I think they're doing themselves and particularly their audience a disservice if they're not. And
I don't have the amount of words you have.
No, but I'm not. I mean, you said you went to a university and didn't stick at it. I never went. I just read a lot. This is all my vocabulary is just from reading. That's all it is. But I like words, and I love if I come across a word I don't know. That's right. I'm having that. That's been used. Petrichor. Do you know this? Do you know petrichor?
No.
It's the it's after rain. It's the smell of earthy ground after rain. Petrichor. Beautiful word, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
And so I saw that somewhere, and I was like, oh, I'm having that. It's made it into one of my poems, and but otherwise, really just meticulous. I write and write and write, and the beauty of when I used to I don't know how long you've got this.
No, keep going.
When I used to be based somewhere, and I used to go to, let's say, your night every month, I would go. I'd need new stuff, right? So I'd have to keep churning this out. And there were 4 or 5 other nights in town. I'd have to go and do new stuff to all of those. Consequently, I was churning out lots of stuff. Now, because I'm headlining shows all around the country, and I rarely see the same faces and meet the same people, none of these poems have to be rushed. So my gestation period of writing is so enormous now, probably arguably too long. Some of them I overwrite some of them, but on the whole, they sit and they get crafted and they get edited and they get rewritten. And
so how long are we looking at? What is the gestation period?
The last poem in my most recent collection is 11 years. It's a long one, but it was 11 years that took from starting it to being happy with it. That's not.
And is it still being tweaked? Because I find that I write stuff, and when I'm performing it, even a couple of years later, I'm tweaking things.
Yeah.
And
when you get new ideas, you get new thoughts, or something happens in the world, and you think, actually, you know, that's relevant to that poem. That's changed that whole line, or you may have just been unhappy with the line. Or what I did find. You'll regret this because now I've been on stage. I found my vocal chops. So I'll end up talking endlessly. what I do find with this is when my first book, because I write the poems and learn them, and then I never see them again, when I turned back to it and I was reading things for the first time in 8 or 10 years, I'd read it back and I was like, wow, that's not even like that poem anymore. You know, the old versions, you might find it yourself.
Yeah.
Because they've changed over the period of time of you being on stage, and you know, I was like, well, I never do that line, and that line's changed, and that word's gone, and I never do that. And it was really amazing how much, again, the evolution of your writing over doing gigs and stuff, when you just, I don't know. I think it's part of the fun of it, isn't it, really? I don't know.
Well, isn't it just?
Yeah.
So where does all this inspiration come from? Is it just finding the odd word, or you don't strike me as being someone who kind of rants about a subject?
Yeah, I got a few polemics. They tend to sit, and there's one or two that I've got. I did my last poem that I did tonight. I've got the kind of dark side of that. It's one about not doing what you should be doing in life, and maybe this is a result of aging and stuff, but that's also, there's a massive rant about technology and about mainly phones and social media, which I have a loathe thing with, and I'm on social media because I have to be, because I need a presence, but ultimately there's massively ranty bits in there, but they're all funny as well. I think you've got to sell it with sugar. I think all these things that people just rant and just beat you down, I switch off after 20 seconds. If there's some jokes in there, that's it. I'm waiting, I'm listening for the next joke, and those powerful hits are coming, and I'm taking them, but it doesn't, because there's a comedy moment coming up, you take them on board, don't you?
You do.
So there's a few of these, certainly.
And I mean, your stuff's always struck me as being really funny.
I don't think I was very funny tonight. I have to say
You've got some big laughs today.
There was some, I know, but I looked at the set that I'd organised, and I thought, because I wanted to do stuff that I hadn't done at a show. I mean, there was a guy who said he's seen all of the shows that I've done, and he said he only recognised 2 of the poems, and that was pretty much it. There was 2 that I knew I'd done at various places, but on the whole I wanted to do new stuff, and unfortunately it's quite heavy stuff. I think this is just things you go through in your life, and it's just one of the periods in my life where I'm writing heavier stuff, I think, but I don't know.
You've got all this material. I mean, how much material do you think you've got from all these years? I mean, as we've said tonight, it's your 10-year anniversary of being not being a poet, being a full-time poet, making your living from it. So how many years has it been?
I started writing in '94. That was my first poem, '94, which it was in my head. It wasn't. I didn't write it. I didn't try and write this poem. I was trying to write by this point, but not poetry. And I was going from Crewe to Chester, and I had an entire poem in my head on the train. It was about death. I don't know if it was about being in Crewe. It made me think about death. It might be. But I had this entire poem. I wrote it. I had to write. This was my epiphany moment. From that moment onwards, poetry was my outlet. Was my medium for writing. So from '94, 2018, folks. It's been a long, long time. And I probably from 2003 actively pursued it, but I've got a massive catalogue, back catalogue, of so much stuff, masses of stuff.
And how much is in your head?
I always say 7 hours, but I think it's nearer 5. There are things that I haven't.
Oh, you're just conning your audience there. You say 7 hours, it's only 5. Get out. You're not working hard enough.
I know. To be honest with you, it's stuff that I think I learned at one time and I've probably forgotten, and I probably need a refresh. But I think it's probably there. I just need to do a couple of read-throughs from some stuff I don't like do very often anymore. But it's a lot of stuff.
So what's next? Other than more gigging and more travelling?
To be honest, I think this is it.
You've done Yes We Cant. Nothing else can get after this now.
I've peaked. Is what, this is the high watermark of my career, and everything's just going to be a pastiche of tonight. To be honest, I do think when you start out, you tick off things. I want to do that. I want to do that. I do see next year being just probably more of the same, and I probably, I still need to write, and I'm working on hopefully a 4-year rotation of books, which means 2020 is the next of my books. So I'm sort of working with now it's nearly 2019. Suddenly I think, oh God, I've got to hammer on with some of these poems. So that will focus me next year. But just do the shows, do the schools, I'm in the library coming up soon. I'm in a prison in Glasgow in a fortnight's time, which is new ground. I've never been in one of those, working with inmates, writing poetry and running workshops, so that'll be interesting. So more of the same, but that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. I love what I do. So,
What a place to end it.
Yeah.
Ash Dickinson, legend. So, there you go, Ash Dickinson. It's a good one, eh? Like I say, again, apologies about the camera angle, but I'm an idiot. So there you go. Bye.